In March of 2017, 6 students embarked on a 28-day journey to Xizhou, a village in southwestern China. Prior to departure, I chose a topic of interest, the village's perspectives on tea, to which I will expand over the course of the trip. Since Yunnan remains home to one of the largest tea industries in all of China, discovering more through the lens of this interesting topic sounded absolutely fascinating to me. During the process, I had established a thesis that will serve as the essence of my project. In order to understand the village of Xizhou's opinions on tea, one must consider the perspectives of the locals, the perspectives of the tourists, and my own perspective. One of the first locals I have encountered was tea shop owner Mr. Huang. While I played with his tea set, he told me about how Sandao Cha, the traditional bai tea ceremony, was superficial. Before I had a conversation with him, I had believed that these ceremonies had sacred history in Bai's culture from all the research I had done. He did not like the copious amounts of additives at all, and it was apparent when he handed me a cup of strong, bitter, and pure green tea. I have found that most of the locals were opposed to the post-production alterations done to the tea, and this did change my viewpoint of these ceremonies. It was refreshing to hear a different opinion on my topic, but just gathering the courage to communicate and receiving fruitful words for it is a feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment in itself. I loved the diverse perspectives I had accumulated, and it prompted me to continue to talk to new people and progress. Xizhou, despite being home to only 2,000 people, is a tourist hotspot. When I interviewed the various tea shop owners, most of them could easily discern the difference between a tourist and a villager. During a brief chat with Ms. Wang, most customers, whom are mostly tourists, purchase her tea due to vibrant packaging for gifting. Aside from this, a main bi-minority tourist attraction that had been present during a night that I spent at the Linen Center was Sandao Cha. The tea was served in minuscule quantities by women in flamboyant outfits, and I could assume that these exaggerated arrangements have not always been a part of Xizhou's culture. The audience, that was mainly comprised of tourists and visitors, apparently loved how eccentric and exotic the whole ordeal was. And that was how I learned that Xizhou was such a big tourist attraction. It was safe to say that I was entirely satisfied with myself and the large batch of experience I have had over the course of the last weeks. Upon my arrival at the village, I had a first-hand encounter with Bai culture, the three-course tea, the dyed fabrics, the white and red headdresses, and the silver tambourines. I wanted to delve into how deep Sandao Cha and its flavored tea actually stretches into Bai history after I was introduced to the cultural iceberg. It showed how much of a region's culture is visible to outsiders and how much is concealed. Many cases, most parts of a region's culture has been altered or completely replaced for the purpose of tourism. Throughout the course of the trip, I have steered myself away from focusing my project on attractive, primitive Bai traditions, and instead focused on everyday life under the influence of tea. This also strengthened my awareness for what would seem like a region's culture but actually isn't. I arrived in this village perceiving the traditional tea ceremony performances as truly valuable to its culture, but my fascination over such things have subsided as I learned that a region's true culture shines through the everyday life of the people that live there. Tea has been incorporated into the prolonged history of not only Yunnan, but China as a whole. From this inquiry project, I have learned the many perspectives directed to tea in the village of Xizhou, that of the villagers, the tourists, and finally myself. In the duration of my stay in the village, I have learned that uncomfortableness and stress are not always negative. Xizhou has not only taught me how to perceive and see through the superficiality of a region's culture, it also taught me the fundamental values of being a decent person. And that is what I will carry with me everywhere I go.